Many of you are probably aware of this information, but if not, then here's the tea. Kubo-sensei originally pictured Urahara Kisuke as the main villain of Bleach, but as the story developed, he changed his mind and decided to make him a supporting character. And after stumbling across this information, I started to question the possibility of Kisuke potentially being a villain. And when I took time to think about it, I found a lot of evidence that could back this theory up. And that's why in this video, I will be attempting to convince you on the possibility that Urahara Kisuke might be the true villain of Bleach. But before we get into the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, let's get into it. To begin, let's talk about the Hogyoku. Soul Reapers have 4 basic combat methods, and they are Zanjutsu, Kido, Ho-Ho, and Hakuda. If a Shinigami attempts to master any of these methods, they will eventually hit a dead end. It doesn't matter how hard they train, they will not improve no matter what. And because of this inconvenience, Kisuke decided to create the Hogyoku. The Hogyoku in English translates to the breakdown spear, and it is capable of removing the boundaries between Shinigami and Harlow. At least, this was what we were led to believe. This information was inaccurate. We would later on learn that the true power of the Hogyoku is the ability to read the hearts of those around it and fulfill their deepest wishes. I am pretty sure that I don't have to explain how deadly this invention would be if it fell into the wrong hands. In Kisuke's defense, he did try to destroy it after he realized that it was dangerous, but unfortunately, it was indestructible. And because he was all out of ideas on what to do with it, he decided to hide it in Rukia's body. He literally implants it deep within her soul, without her consent, and in the process, he puts her life at risk. See, a regular Gigai is composed of a large amount of reishi to compensate for the powers a Shinigami loses when they are in that form. However, the Gigai that Urahara created for Rukia did not contain any reishi. This meant that her spiritual powers would diminish. This is because there wouldn't be enough reishi to balance the reishi that had been lost. She would lose all of her spiritual powers and sadly revert to a normal human soul. This was pure evil. There is absolutely no way to justify this. Why couldn't Kisuke use the Gigai on himself and hide the Hogyoku in his body? And to make matters worse, his plan failed because Aizen found its location, and in order to extract the Hogyoku, Aizen needed to evaporate Rukia's soul. Fortunately, Rukia does not lose her life, and Aizen finds another way to extract the Hogyoku. Now, if you think that everything I just mentioned is bad, wait until you hear what I'm about to say. In the Turn Back the Pendulum arc, it was revealed that Aizen had also created his own version of the Hogyoku, and the ingredients for his was the souls of the residents of the Rukon district. However, his was a complete failure. Now my question is, if Aizen needed to use souls to create his and it still ended up failing, then what the hell did Kisuke use to create his? I really find it hard to believe that Urahara created the Hogyoku with a simple and clean method that didn't involve horrific ingredients such as Aizen's. Next up is his involvement in sending teenage kids on a suicide mission. After failing to conceal the Hogyoku, Kisuke had no choice but to send Ichigo and his friends on a rescue mission, and this decision had serious repercussions. Uryu faces off against Mayuri and wins, but in the process he sustains a lot of injuries. Chad was lucky enough to encounter Shunsui, who went easy on him. Ichigo participates in numerous battles, but thankfully he was able to cheat death several times, and Orihime is left unscathed. Kisuke is just as bad as Aizen when it comes to manipulation. Not only did he encourage teenagers to go on a suicide mission, but he also made them think that it was their decision, when in reality they were actually doing his bidding for him. He knew the risk that was involved, but regardless, he still lets them go. And bear in mind that they were 15 years old at the time. It's a miracle that none of them lost their lives. Now let's talk about his decision to free Mayuri from the Nest of Maggots. The Nest of Maggots is an underground prison in the 2nd Division Barracks. It is kept in secrecy from the public, and only a few Soul Reapers are aware of its existence. This is because it is not like your typical prison that is designed to detain criminals. In fact, the Soul Reapers in there have done nothing wrong. They don't necessarily treat the inmates like criminals. They are allowed to walk around freely and interact with one another. Mayuri Kurotsuchi, the current captain of the 12th Division, was the only one behind bars. Kisuke decided to free him because he needed his intelligence. He claims that it is true that some of the people there are dangerous. However, he believes that instead of locking them up against their will, the Gotai 13 could provide them with an environment where they could turn their abilities into assets. And to be honest, he makes a great point. As we all know, Mayuri is a very important member of the Gotai 13. However, that doesn't mean that he is a good person. Remember, despite holding the position of a captain, Mayuri is still willing to kill members of his own company, and he also tortured several Quincy's to death. More importantly, we still don't know why Mayuri was in the nests of maggots. I find it hard to believe that someone like Mayuri was in there for absolutely no reason. He definitely did something inhumane. This led me to speculate that maybe Kisuke was dishonest. He didn't release Mayuri because he believed that he could be an asset to the Soul Society, but instead it was for his own selfish gain. If him and Mayuri were to join forces, they could potentially take over the Soul Society. On top of everything that I just mentioned, let's not forget that Kisuke is a very dangerous man. I mean, after all, he was originally an assassin. He is also a genius inventor, and if he is capable of creating something like the Hogyoku, then I am pretty sure that he has created even more dangerous inventions. Now, let's take a step back and take all of this in. Kisuke created the Hogyoku, an invention that could potentially destroy the entire world. He nearly got Rukia executed. He sent teenagers on a suicide mission. He was technically responsible for the creation of the Arankars, and he freed a psychopath from prison. When you think about it, Kisuke is the reason why half of the time things go south in Bleach. And who knows, maybe all of the things that I just mentioned are hints that Kubo intentionally left and wanted us to pick up on. To end off the video, I will admit that I don't actually think that Kisuke is a villain, and this is due to the fact that he has saved the Soul Society on numerous occasions. However, I believe that he has the potential to become one, and this is because he was framed for a crime that he didn't commit, which ultimately led to his banishment from his own home. After all of that, why wouldn't he want to turn against the Soul Society? This is a very interesting theory, and I really enjoyed making this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also tell me down in the comment section if you guys think that Urahara Kisuke is a villain or not. Peace out.
Bye bye!